Good afternoon. Konnichiwa. My name is Kevin Ketchum, and excited to be here this afternoon. I'd like to, over the next 40 minutes, cover what we call Project Earl. And Project Earl is some new technology that we think our automotive and design customers have been asking for. And I'll try to cover what Project Earl really is, and also tell you where the technology came from and where we want to take the technology in the future, and how you will participate and help Project Earl become a very solid design tool.
ではこれから私、中島と申します。ちょっと簡単に日本語で適宜要点だけ挟ませていただきます。彼はケビン・ケッチャムといいまして、弊社米国本社のこういったデザイン製品の開発部門のリードをやっております。もともと彼もデザイナーでエリアスのユーザーであって、今回エリアスとこのデザインソフトの開発を率いております。で、今日お話しするプロジェクト R っていうのはまだ開発中のものでして、まだ製品にはなっておりませんが、今日いろいろとどういったものかっていうのをご紹介して、でぜひこれからだんだんベータ版へと進んでまいりますので、ぜひ皆様のまたフィードバックをいただきたいということで今日ご紹介してまいります。
So Autodesk we've been traveling the globe and looking at design studios and talking with customers that have been adopting polygon modeling as a workflow for their early concept models.
で世界中の自動車のデザインの部署を回っていると、エイリアスを使っているお客さんの中でも、初期の3次元の形状を作るというところで、ポリゴンモデリングというのをここ数年皆さん使い始めているということが分かりました。
And we recognize that we have some of the best world-class technology like Maya and 3ds Max and Softimage. But we recognize that it takes experts quite a bit of time to learn how to use those three packages that we have. And we also recognize that Cinema 4D and Modo and Silo and a few of the other sub-D modelers are out there, and they're very competitive. And so we'd like to make a tool for designers that doesn't require the long learning time of Maya, but we want to deliver something that bridges the gap between polygons and NURBS.
もちろん弊社にも Maya ですとか 3ds Max ですとかソフトイマージといったようなポリゴンモデリングができるツールもありますし、競合のツールもいくつかあります。ただこれはやっぱりデザイナー向けに作られたものではないので、やはり簡単とはいえ何らかの練習訓練をしないと使えないものではないかというふうに思います。
So we wanted to bring some technology forward for designers to use, and we wanted these designers to use this concept modeler in this first stage. We recognize that in the beginning it's either 2D sketches like Prismacolor or Copic or Photoshop or Sketchbook sketches up front. Then either into either a polygon model. Some guys like to do 3D, to sketch out a 3D form before they start to move forward because they recognize the speed. But early in the fast concept modeling, we have 2D sketching, and sometimes polygon models or even just a physical clay for concept.
でこういった3次元の初期段階のモデリングっていうのはここにありますように、一番最初のファーストコンセプトって書いてあるコンセプト段階でやられることが多いです。ですからスケッチから始まって、そのままスケッチで終わる方もいらっしゃいますが、3次元のポリゴンモデリングを使ってより良い形を見つけていくということに今使われております。
So for surfacing, it can be we can do polygon modeling or even NURBS modeling. But then when we jump over the fence here, we need to make something that's a little more manufacturable. So we need cleaner and quality NURBS or solids models. And so we recognize that we want to address this area right in here. So the polygon early NURBS model development stage.
でその先、実際に3次元のモデルを作ってデザイン検討していくところに入っていくんですけれども、今回ご紹介するプロジェクト R については、この最初のコンセプトの段階、それから最初の3次元モデルを作っていくところにフォーカスをして開発をしていっているものです。
So we recognize that polygons are fast in the beginning, but the data comes to a dead end. But NURBS data takes a little longer for the start, but we recognize that the NURBS can mature and get refined as time moves on. But we'd like to try to, in solids modeling, no, not for creative. But we'd like to propose Project Earl to maybe jump this gap between the fast polygon modeling and then a nice smooth transition into the NURBS world.
ここにありますように、ポリゴンモデリングっていうのは比較的早い段階から形が見えて、使いやすくていいんですけれども、ある段階までいくと、その完成度がそれ以上上がらない。逆に、面モデリングを使っていく、サーフェスモデリングを使っていくと、最初ちょっと形ができるまでは時間かかるんですけども、その後きちんとそのデータが使えていくということになります。もちろん設計が使っているソリッドモデルっていうのはデザイン向きではないので、ここでは除外しておきますけれども、今回やろうとしているプロジェクト R は、このポリゴンモデリングの良さを生かしつつ、後のサーフェスモデリングにきちんとつながっていく道具にしたいというふうに考えています。
Thank you. So here's a quick video that kind of highlights kind of what we were thinking when a lot of our global customers were talking to us about Polygon workflows. I'll show you this video. I think it speaks more to address what I'm trying to describe. So I'll just play the video. This is a Maya model.
でこれはMayaを使ったちょっとポリゴンモデリングの例、どんなことをしているのかっていうのをちょっと実際にアニメーションでご覧いただきたいと思います。
So this, capture the form quickly, and the idea is that the designer can, take his sketch, but see it for the first time in 3D and make decisions very quickly with lots of flexibility, to the ability to move forms and creases and shapes without having to worry about curvature or breaking history or G3 continuity or breaking any of your surface flow. You can just grab points and pull it around, kind of like digital clay. And that's what we think there's a big demand for this.
ご覧いただいているように非常に簡単に少ない手順で形が作れて柔軟に形が変更できる。こういう形で、彼デジタルクレイと言ってましたけれども、そういった感覚で形を作っていくことができるのがこのポリゴンモデリングの特徴です。
But we recognize that this is an expert Maya user. This guy has probably about 10 years of Maya experience and was able to create this model really quickly inside of Maya.
もちろんこれだけ早く操作するためにある程度Mayaに慣れている必要があります。
So we want to provide a piece of technology that solves a problem that a designer can pick up this tool, the tool that we're proposing, Project Earl, and allow him to explore the forms, explore his designs.
このプロジェクト R では、そこまでいろいろなことを覚えなくても簡単に形が作れるようなデザイナーのためのツールっていうのを今目指そうと思っています。
So 2 years ago, Autodesk purchased a company called T-Splines. And T-Splines has some very unique advantages. The first one is that you can add detail in areas that you want information, but the rest of the model does not have to have heavy information forced into the rest of the model. So you can add local areas of detail, keeping the information there without running edge loops or additional faces throughout or penalizing the rest of the model.
こういったポリゴンモデリングの非常に良さを生かしつつ局面データを作るにはどうしたらいいかということで、オートデスク2年ほど前に T-Spline という技術を買収しました。これは先ほどのポリゴンモデリングのように必要なら一部分だけ変更することができたり、最終的な局面の形状をきちんと保証するといったようなことが可能になる技術でした。
And the second key advantage to T-Splines sub-D modeling that's different than Maya, Max, or any other sub-D modeler is the ability to take your sculpted forms and have them match exact engineering shape. So we could match a piece of data that the engineering team has said, you need to match this exact location, but my sculpted forms are kind of not matching at all. T-Splines allows you to select your sculpted forms and match to exact engineering criteria.
もう一つ T-Spline を使っていいことがあるのは、こういった設計条件のようなものが設計の CAD から曲面あるいは曲線データとして提示されているときに、他のポリゴンモデリングではそれに大体合わすことはできてもぴったり合わすことはできません。この T-Spline はちゃんと曲線データを作りますので、きちんとそのデータに合わせることができるというのがもう一つの利点です。
So to elaborate on that, and we'd like to introduce Project Earl. The code name came from Harley Earl, who was one of the very first concept designers at General Motors back in the 20s. But we wanted the ability to give a designer to something that's easy to use, very precise, and then at the end of it, when I mean flexible, I mean to be able to take your sub-D or polygon surfaces and turn them into NURBS, to be able to generate a NURBS surface when you're done with it.
でこのプロジェクト R、この名前はGM の初代の、コンセプトデザイナーのチーフから来ているそうなんですけども、この目指すところはまずデザイナーの方でも簡単に使える道具であること、それからできたデータを設計データに合わせることも含めて非常に精密なものであること、それから後でエイリアスですとかそういったものに使えるきちんとしたナーブス局面データを出すことができることっていうのが3つの大きな目標になっています。
So this is how we see, in the information we've been gathering from around the creative studios around the globe, is that the designer wants to import a sketch, whether it's a digital or analog sketch. He just wants to bring in his information. Traditional sketches, Photoshop, Alias, Studio Paint. We want to import your idea. That's the first step.
これがプロジェクト R を使った時のコンセプトデザインの大きな流れで、大体どこのデザイナーさんのお話を聞いてもこんなような流れになるんですけども、まず最初は手で描いた、あるいはさっきのデジタルスケッチツールで描いたようなスケッチを下絵として持ってくるということをやります。
And the second step is that we wanted the creative designer to be able to search and discover his forms, just like you would on the physical clay when you use a knife line and you rake off surfaces or start to explore different themes and ideas. That's what we wanted you to do in step 2. No rules, and we wanted you to give you complete freedom to explore your ideas and discover.
でそのスケッチを持ってきて、それを参考にしながら実際に形を起こしていくわけなんですけども、ちょうどスケールモデルを作るように、あまりその面モデルを作る時のようないろんな制約を課さないで、できるだけ自由に形を作って変形していって自分の目指す形、ボリュームを決めていくという道具になっているのがこのプロジェクト R の部分ですね。
And then the last step, of course, would be able to take your Project Earl model and either send it right to a visualization or send it to get cutter paths cut so you can mill out your shapes. Because Autodesk still believes that there's the designer, but then there's also still the master sculptor who has the sensitivity and the experience and the craftsmanship that will affect the physical model, and then we'll rescan that data and then go to Alias and start to do your Class A surfaces. But we still believe that there has to be both the idea and then the actual craftsman who has the skills to mature the form. So fast concept model out to a mill. And then the physical clay will be refined out on the scale models, and then off to Class A.
でこのプロジェクト R で作成したモデルっていうのはきちんとした面モデルですので、あそこにあるようにビジュアライゼーションに送ったり、あるいは実際にクレイモデルを削ったり、またエイリアスに送ってもう少し面をきれいにしていったりということができます。で、オートデスクは別にこのデジタルツールだけでデザインが終わると思ってません。ですので、クレイに持っていって、クレイモデラーさんと一緒にきちんと面を追い込んでいくということも必要でしょうし、そのためのいいアイデアを出すというツールにしたいというのがこのプロジェクト R になります。
All right, so now I'm going to switch over into Project Earl and just kind of give you the look and feel for where we're at right now. So Earl's not really even a beta yet, but it's I think in a good enough stage where we can show you the technology. And Autodesk really wants to engage with all of you as designers and design managers and IT to give us input to strengthen the tool. So I'll switch over to Earl right now. And again, we're hoping that we have at least 1 or 2 crashes today, because then we know we're really pushing the limits of the software.
ここまでちょっと概要をお話してきましたけど、それでは実際にちょっと今開発中のものなんですが、プロジェクト R の画面を見ていただきながら、お話を進めていきたいと思います。残念ながらちょっと開発中ですので、ひょっとしたら途中で1、2回こけるかもしれませんが、ご容赦ください。
So here we are. I just wanted to walk you through what we have on screen real quick. Very simple UI, very few tools. I wanted to point out that we wanted to learn from Alias and Maya and from Mudbox all the marking menus. So just a right click, access the tools that you'll use the most often. And so you'll notice that create, modify, symmetry sketch, create, modify, symmetry sketch. So everything here is up here. We wanted to reduce the amount of mouse miles and travel that you had to do. We wanted to put the tools right underneath your hands.
で、デザイナーの方に使っていただくために、できるだけメニュー等々はシンプルにしようと思っています。で、上にメニューがありますけれども、実際にはエイリアスとかマヤで使われているマーキーメニューといって、マウスの右ボタンを押すと、その場所で今使う機能がちゃんと出てくると。ですから、形とメニューを行ったり来たりしなくて済むようにするというのが、まず第一番目のコンセプトですね。
So I'm going to go ahead and open a model right now to kind of show you what probably about 3-4 hours of modeling will get you inside of Project Earl. While that's loading, let me go ahead and show you a little quick movie that I think shows the kind of the speed and the ability. Let me close this here. So let me just show you a quick little video of, let's see, Control F. So this is a quick little movie that shows, let's see, view, normal size. Okay, where are you? So there's a quick little movie here just to kind of give you kind of an idea about your interaction with Project Earl, highlighting the hotkeys. You can switch between your block mode or your faceted mode and switch over to your smooth mode. But I found that by getting my patches kind of laid out and the model looking good and clean in the block mode, when I switched to smooth mode, I recognized that I was able to control highlights and add the refinement to the model quite quickly.
でここでちょっとムービーでご覧いただいてますけれども、表示の仕方はボックスモードとスムーズモードという形でポリゴンで見える状態とこういう滑らかな曲面で見える状態があります。でどちらでも形の編集ができますが、ボックスモードで、形の大まかな傾向をつかんで、スムーズモードできちんとハイライトを整えていくというようなことを今やっています。
So in here, I've made another version of the model, and I just played with the idea and the proportion and shortened the wheelbase a little bit. And you can see that there's 3 types of geometry: a face, an edge, and a vertice. And that's it. That's all the geometry you need to worry about: a face, an edge, and a vertice. And then use your global manipulators and start to create shapes and forms really quickly. And I recognized I had some problems here, and so when I switched to block mode, I was able to go in there and start to clean up the highlight, and then toggle back over into smooth mode, and I can see those highlights.
で基本的に形を触るものはフェース、面かエッジ、カーブかバーテックス点、この3種類しかありません。このどれかを触って形を変えていくということで、今ボックスモードとサーフェスモードを行ったり来たりしながらハイライトを整えているところですね。
And I recognize right here this highlight is not looking good. It's because I have too much information in there, and it's easy to delete information. So you just double click on this edge loop, and I deleted it, and my highlight started to smooth out. So you can add information or take information away wherever you need it.
で形やハイライトがきちんと追い込めない一つの原因に断面の数が多すぎる場合があります。そういった時はその断面を簡単に消して、もう一度形を整え直すということが簡単にできます。
So an important thing about this is that I can react to the speed of design critiques, design reviews, and do exploration with my design manager sitting right beside me. We can explore this form really quickly, and then just say, let's send that out to the mill. But I think we can do a lot of evaluation real quickly over the shoulder reviews.
後ほどまた実機で見ていただきますけれども、非常に手早く形の変更ができるということがいいところで、レビューしている最中でもいろいろな案の検討ができるというのは一つ便利なところかなというふうに考えています。
So the first car was pretty ugly, and then I made a car that I thought looked a little better and put it in place. But the second thing I want to point out on this video is that I use packaging criteria. So I use a side view of some sections from where occupants and the wheelbase and the roof line, and tried to, as a designer, try to be respectful of the manufacturable feasibility of the design. So using sections, I started to build a form that respected the engineering criteria.
もちろん設計 CAD からこういったパッケージングのデータを持ってくることができますので、それに合わせてデザインのフィジビリティをきちんと確認しながら進めていくということも可能になります。
So here's a model that kind of blocked out. So I'll go ahead and just kind of show you what we're looking at real quick. So here we have all the different types of geometry. Let me switch the visualization mode. So there's a couple of different ways that we can show the model. We can show it with all of its edges. I'll go ahead and select this and smooth it out just real quick so you can see all the facets. If I want to get rid of a loop here, I can just double click and select that. But let me just run you through, you can switch to different styles, so you can make it a little bit different environments, different materials.
でこれ彼が大体3時間ぐらいかけて作った、一つのモデルなんですけれども、こういう形で今表示ですが、背景のいろんな変更をして、モデルを見るための環境というのをいくつかこれからお見せしたいと思います。
And as a designer, I find that this is actually pretty helpful because right at this stage, by the way, we're using real-time ambient occlusion, but at this stage, right now, I could take this image into Sketchbook or Photoshop and start adding details and painting in things that I don't want to spend a lot of time modeling and just do some screen grabs and that sort of thing to help sell my idea, sell my concept before we start milling it out.
でもちろんこういったモデルの絵を撮って、でまたそれをさっきのスケッチブックに持っていって、形を作る前にある程度ディテールを書き込んでいくっていったようなことでデザインの案を少し考えるってこともできるようになりますね。
So I'll start from scratch here. Let's start a new document. Here's how usually we'll start out a session. So I will go to a side view and bring in a sketch, and it's pretty easy to bring in a sketch.
ではここからちょっと一番最初のところから形を作っていくというちょっと流れをお見せしたいと思います。まずスケッチを持ってきます。
So I bring in a sketch and kind of set it here. Actually, I think I have a better sketch, but we'll go with this one. And how do I know how big this is? I just kind of brought in my sketch, but let's make this a real world dimensions. You can adjust your opacity if you'd like to, or flip your sketch in real time. Again, your little manipulator is right on screen. Easy to do that. But what I wanted to point out is that let's get the sketch to be the right size of a real car. So I'm just going to say canvas. So let's go ahead and just say edit. Let's calibrate this sketch. So let me zoom in a little bit. So from here, let's say to about right here, let's make that 2,500 millimeters on the wheelbase. So it automatically scaled up my sketch, so I know that I'm working in a real world scale.
でここでは持ってきたスケッチのまず大きさを実寸大にしています。というのはやっぱりモデルを作るので、後で適当な大きさで作っておくと、後の加工とかが困っちゃうので、とりあえずまずスケッチでホイールベースを2500ミリっていうのに抑えてからモデリングを進めていきます。
All right, so a really easy, fast way that you can start to build up a shape is you can either do a block model, or in this case, I'm going to use just some NURBS curves. So I'll grab some curves here. It's asking me, what axis do you want to start building your geometry on? And I just selected the X and Z plane, and I'll start dropping in some curves here. And at this early stage, I'm trying not to be very detailed, just trying to get an idea of the forms, kind of like Illustrator Bezier curves.
でここではスケッチを大体なぞるような形でスケッチカーブを作っていって、これを使って立体を起こしていくということをやろうと思っています。
So I'm being very generous. I'm not capturing the form exactly with my curves. And right now I can start to grab some of these curves and adjust them and get them closer and tighter and make this match my sketch a little more if I'd like to. So you can also play with the Beziers, the handles here, just like you would in Illustrator. Okay, this is another way. And I'll say stop sketch. And right now I'll go ahead and let's go ahead and create this shape here. So I'll just select this and drag it out. But I recognize right now I have more of a wing than a car. It needs some more information. So I'll type in, say, 35, something like that.
でここではスケッチを大体形を整えて、ベジエカーブなどで形を整えて、そこから一回押し出しをしています。でちょっと最初形が怪しかったですけども、4スパンでしか作ってないので、少しスパン数を増やして、大体元のスケッチに沿うような立体をまず作るということをやっています。
So I also turned on symmetry. So whatever I do on this side, I'm going to get on the other side for free.
それから一応対称っていう条件を入れてますので、片方だけ作れば両方一気に作れるというモードにしました。
And I also noticed that when I was mousing over my canvas, it was flickering, and I don't want to be able to select that. So you have a selection filter, and in this case, I'm going to select turn off being able to select a canvas. And this way, the canvas won't flicker anymore. So I'll say OK.
でここから先は後ろのスケッチがマウスに反応するのは煩わしいので、そこは反応しないようにしておきます。
So now you can see that I have a model here with a bunch of shapes. I'm going to grab these edges here and just double click on the other end here, and it just selects a local region. Or I can just select this whole thing, double click, and it grabs everything, and use edit form. And I'm not using clutch keys like I do in Alias, just the right mouse button.
でここから先はエディットフォームっていう機能を使ってどんどん形を作っていますけれども、これは必要なエッジなり、ものを触って右ボタンマウスでマーキーメニューから入る。ただそれだけですね。
So I can quickly start to block out a shape and to start to non-proportional scale. This manipulator has X, Y, Z, non-proportional scale, constrain, rotate, all in one.
でこのマニピュレーター出てますけれども、基本的にはエディットフォームの中でこのマニピュレーターのいろいろな部分を触って、スケーリングだとか移動だとか、これだけをうまく使って形を作っていくということをやっていきます。
And I can also, those are all hotkeyable as well. I can grab let's grab this edge loop here and maybe pull this inward. So I'll take this shape and kind of pull it inward. So I'm going to say, let's pull that in and maybe pull this in a little bit and maybe pull it up a little bit. And I can also move in different modes. So not just always X, Y, Z to the world. Let's pull this down. So I'm getting in the forms, getting in the shapes, and then I'm shaping and adding the information as I need. But I'm trying to get the main volumes blocked in first.
でまずここでは横断面からスタートして、まず全体のボリュームをああいう形で全体を引っ張ったり、一部も引っ張ったり回したりしながら、まず基本になるボリュームを作っていくということをやっていきます。
And I recognize that my canvas is still a little bit too opaque, so I'll just turn that down a little bit, or say display through. All right, so I just needed that to come down a little bit. So let's go ahead and grab some this front fender area and pull it, maybe this one here, and say edit form. And I'm going to grab the center node and I'll hold the Alt key. So you can grow a shape by just holding the Alt key. So I'm holding the Alt key and I'm just going to select that middle node and just scale it down. So I just made another piece of geometry pretty quickly. I can non-P scale it, non-proportional scale. I don't like what's happening here, but I'm not going to worry about it.
ここをちょっとフェンダーを作っていきたいので、一部分だけエッジを選んで、今彼、オルトキーを押しながらマニピュレーターを動かしています。そうすると、動かすだけではなくて、そのエッジから新しい面を増やして、追加しながら変形していくというモードになります。
So to switch to block mode, I can see kind of where my main geography or main topology is, and you can switch between that mode pretty quickly. You can say toggle smooth. Again, we can just right-click and say repeat that last tool that you've done. So let's just grab this edge, and I'm going to grow this down a little bit. So I can grab the shape, again, holding the Alt key, and just grow this down a few times. So I can kind of pull this down and start to build this form where I'd like it to be. And then I can start to combine these edges, as well as this edge here. I'll grab this and move it down a few times.
で同じようにちょっと今度はボックスモードに切り替えて、オルトキーを押しながら少しずつ面を伸ばしていきます。
So then I'll start to shape these volumes, sort of just like you would in Maya, and we can subdivide the polygons and to make the changes to the forms pretty quickly. So let's pull this here. Oops. Of course, whatever's happening on one side is happening on the other side, right?
もちろん対象で作ってますので、片っぽを作れば反対側も同じように作られていってますね。
And I think I'm going to maybe let's collapse. You can collapse vertices. This is something that I wasn't familiar with when I started using I'll say T-splines, is the ability to have 3, 4, and 5-sided pieces of geometry. So you can say modify and you can say merge. So you can merge geometry together. I want that and that to be the same. Maybe this one and that one, this one and this one. Let's go here, come here. I can't see you. There we go. Let's try this one and that one. So then you can start to weld these shapes together.
で前を使っていることはやったことあるかもしれませんけども、この T スプラインでも、頂点同士をくっつけるということができますので、さっき穴が開いたところの頂点をまずくっつけて、一旦形を閉じるということを今やりました。
And I can grow this shape out again. So just know that you can quickly add forms. Let's see, I didn't want to do that. Let's do that one more time, edit form. I'll grab this little shape here. It's going to switch to a block mode, and I'll pull this out and maybe pull it down a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll say OK, and grab this bottom edge and just say delete. And now that shape will start to soften up a little bit. Let's grab, I actually don't like this at all. Let's grab that and say delete. So you can quickly add or take away geometry. Let's weld these together here. So again, you can use modify. All the hotkeys again are quickly underneath where your mouse is.
でここでオープニングのところを少し引っ張り出してますけども、それに伴ってフェンダーの角のところがあんまりかっこよくなそうなので、さっきの三角の部分は一回消してもう一回つなぎ直すと。こういった一部分だけを消す、つなぐっていうのは非常に簡単にできるっていうのはこのツールのもう一つの特徴ですね。
So when I first started using T-splines, I thought of what project could I do quickly that is tough for me to do inside of NURBS. For me to do this model in NURBS, it would take me probably a good 5-6 hours to start from scratch. I found that I was able to create these shapes really quickly inside of Earl real quickly, and then I can add forms like you just saw a little bit earlier. I just want to point out that this is where T-splines and sub-Ds are very different, like you saw in the slide deck.
エクセルの形をああいった作業を繰り返していって、さっきの最初にお見せしたような形になっていくわけですけども、ここではちょっとモデルを変えてドアミラーをやってみたいと思います。これもエリアスで作るとそこそこ時間がかかるんですけども、これを最初に T スプラインでやってみて、これはかなりいいなと思ったので、ちょっとこれのモデルを見てもらいます。
So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and select this body, and just wanted to show you that you can quickly add information wherever you'd like to add information. So we can say select this edge loop, let's insert a form here. So insert an edge, and you can just click and drag wherever you like that information, and say OK. And it'll add the information there. Sometimes I'll go ahead and use edit form, but basically you can start to see your form and shape it and add maturity to the shapes as you see from any view. So you can start to do that. But again, where the real power is to be able to match a T-spline's edge to an exact criteria edge. So let's do that, and I'll use match.
でここでは黄色い設計条件の面のところにドアミラーの足を合わせるっていうのをちょっとやってみたいと思います。
So I'll go ahead and select my T-spline's edge here. So let's go around here to a view that I can see. I'll turn that first sketch off here. So I'm going to select my target edge, which is this, and then I'll select my T-spline's model. Just double click, and the model should yes, okay.
残念ながら1回ちょっとまず第1回目かけました。
All right, all right, and we'll switch over real quick.
今やろうとしたのは先のオレンジ色の方が設計から来た面の形状で、それにドアミラーの端の形状をきちんと合わせるっていうことを今やろうとしてました。
All right, so excuse me. You can see how fast you can create and modify a form. I'll just say File, New Doc, and just start to create a shape here even with just a cube here. So I'll select a shape, and I want to capture a volume. I'm going to pull this up real quick. And also let's switch the visualization mode here. Let's go to with hidden faces. So quickly I can say I want this to be symmetrical, and I want it to be mirrored. And now when I go here and here, I can quickly add information, and I'll say OK. So let's insert. Let's go ahead and insert some geometry here. So I'll say insert edge loop, drag, and say OK. I'll do one the other way as well. Say insert, just using the repeat function. Maybe here in the middle, I'll say bevel. So this is something we just introduced from kind of the Maya workflow using the bevel function. So
ここでは少し元へ戻って最初のシンプルな形からモデルを作っていくっていうのをちょっとお見せしています。
And I have no idea what this is going to be, but I'm making a shape here. Just you can quickly make and grow forms. Let's go ahead and grow this. It's a submarine. Okay, there we go.
最初のシンプルな四角形から断面を追加していって、で必要な部分にまた必要な詳細を追加していって、そこを変形していくと いったような作り方。先ほどちょっとスケッチからスタートするのとちょっと違いますけども、こういった作り方も可能です。
So you can just see that you can add forms really fast, explore those shapes. And I'll go ahead and play with these. Duplicate a form here and delete the bottom edges. Let's delete those bottom edges real quick. So I'll finish this off by sending that mirror over to Alias. Delete. And I don't know, it's starting to look interesting. Let's move this over. Right. And for a designer to start to create a form and a shape, this is the new Daihatsu. I have no idea what this is. All right, let's
これもかなりちょっと自由にやってますけれども、こういった形で自由に自分の思うままに形を変えていって、どんな形になるかっていうのを実験的に探していくっていったようなものもありますね。
And also, just to let you know that you can switch to different selection modes. So right now we're selecting faces. I can switch, kind of like in Maya hotkeys, I can switch to select different modes. So faces or vertices, edges, faces. Also, you can move in XYZ, the screen space, or NUV. Let's go ahead and open up that mirror one more time. So open up this side mirror.
今ちょっとお見せしましたけども、形を選ぶものも点だけ選ぶ、エッジだけ選ぶ、面だけ選ぶ、全部選ぶっていうのは切り替えられますし、物を動かす方向も座標軸方向、それから画面軸の方向、それから面直方向っていったような形で、ホットキーで簡単に切り替えられるようになっています。
So this model, I want to convert to a B-rep or into a NURBS model. So I'll select the shapes, make sure that everything's good, and I'll say OK. And now the forms, I've got a B-rep model that now I can open up inside of Alias. So let's open up that file in Alias, open.
で今先ほどのミラーのモデルなんですけども、これをエイリアスに送る、ナーブスの面にするということをやって、今エイリアスの中に取り込んでいきます。
So I've got a mirror here that came over. Let's see my mirror model. Mirror. Too many files. File, mirror. Where's my mirror? I can't see it. All right, so I've got a mirror file here. Let's go to desktop and look here real quick. Oh, I know why I couldn't see it, because it was an IGES file. And there we go. So I'll now see it. IGES file. There's a mirror. Mirror. Where did you go? Mirror.
ちょっとファイル探している間に。
Oh, here we go. Sorry. Okay, good. There it is. All right, open. Delete all. So the mirror comes in, and it's a stitched model. It's not Class A, but it is a NURBS patch structure that I'll turn on hardware shading here. So here's my a model that I brought over as when I converted it to a NURBS model, and surfaces are created, and then I could start to do reverse engineering. Of course, it's not Class A or explicit control, but now I can take this part and thicken it or offset it to do rapid prototyping really easily.
ご覧いただいているように、プロジェクト R の中で作ったモデルは、そのままきちんとナーブスの局面に切り分けて持ってくることができますので、面構成から見ると、クラス A っていうわけにはいきませんけれども、非常に滑らかな接続性が保証されたモデルとして、エイリアスに持ってくることができます。
So you can see it's separate individual NURBS patches. Again, it's something that we could start to thicken and offset and take into Class A and start to mature. So I guess to go back to our presentation on Earl, kind of what we're looking for is that we'd like to get engagement from you, all of you as designers. We want your honest feedback about what you think the tool needs. We would like to engage you in the design community on the beta portal. And also, we're looking for transportation and automotive designers. We're not really looking for film and games customers.
で今ご覧いただいたように、プロジェクト R、まだまだ開発中のものですので、ああいう形でちょこちょこまだ落ちたりします。 ですので、ちょっとまだ皆様のお手に委ねるのはちょっと早いかなと思ってるんですが、近々ベータ版を公開する予定でございます。ですので、ぜひオートデスクのベータサイトにサインアップいただいて、このプロジェクト R を使いたいという意思表示をしていただければ、ベータ版が使えるようになった時点で皆様にご連絡が行くようになります。そしたらぜひ触っていただいて、デザイナーとしての忌憚のないご意見をいただきたいと思います。これは本当にデザイナーのツールとして育てたいので、ゲームや映画の制作の人たちの意見じゃなくて、皆様のデザイナーのご意見をいただきたいというふうに思っています。
はい。All right. ありがとう。So, yeah.
以上でプロジェクト R という次世代のコンセプトモデリングツールと、これ開発版ですが、これのお話を終わらせていただきたいというふうに思います。